Hey folks, welcome back to the channel. So we're back on this build for the giveaway guitar, and it's a Stratocaster build. It's based on a Squire SE Stratocaster, and we've done a lot of work to it already, including installing a new bridge, a loaded pickguard, new tuners, and all kinds of stuff. I'm at the point now where I need to put some strings on this thing so we can finish slotting the nut and installing the string trees. So sit tight while I do that. Alright, now the strings are in place and I have brought the guitar up to tune. So once everything's in tune, we can begin to set up the bridge. Now I've shown you the steps on Stratocaster setup before. Basically what you want to do is get your intonation roughed in by setting this saddle to 25.5 inches according to your scale, but that's 25.5 inches from the inside of the nut all the way down to the contact point of the string. Then kind of going back in that zigzag pattern that I described fully in my Stratocaster setup video. I also want to rough in the action, and that's really because if my action isn't close, then whenever I finish the slots in my nut, they're not going to be right either. So I want to go ahead and try to get to that 4/64 at the 17th fret. That comes with a combination of adjustments with this particular style of bridge. The way I did it, I went ahead and adjusted my height adjustment screws on each one of the saddles so where they were comfortable for my hand, and then I adjusted the entire bridge height up and down until I got 4/64 on the outside strings. Then I used the adjustment screws in the middle 4 saddles to bring those up to the proper radius. As it stands now, only the middle 2 saddles have any of the threads sticking up at all on the adjustment screws, and it really isn't much. Whoever receives this guitar, there's probably even going to be some room to fine-tune this a little bit more if you want to, but I find it to be totally comfortable, so I'm sure you will too. Now, one other thing that's important to get right when I'm setting up the bridge is to make sure that this thing is level. If it's not level, that's going to throw off the action adjustments, intonation, and all kinds of stuff. Now, luckily on this bridge, it was close to level just because of where I had set things up to begin with. And just to show you, I had the claw set to about 1/2 inch away from the back of the cavity. Now things are going to vary a little bit depending on what spring tension you use and how many springs you use and things like that. But with these 3 springs that it came with, the screws that it came with and the claw that it came with, set to about 1/2 inch away from the back of this cavity, it was just about perfect to start with. All kinds of things are going to affect this measurement, including what gauge of strings you use, what tuning you use, so on and so forth. Now I've got this piece of tape in here that's protecting the finish from the tremolo, even though there are already a couple of scratches from where I put it in initially. But I just don't want it to get any worse, and I'm going to leave this tape here throughout the rest of the setup because as I'm cutting those nut slots, I'm going to be detuning some strings, moving them to the side, cutting the slot, putting them back, and that might make the tremolo contact the body again, so I just want to leave this in place for now. I think I mentioned that I had the starter slots in the nut from before in the previous episode, and I'm just going to finish those now, and I'll do that off camera, but I'll come back as soon as they're done. What I'll be doing is measuring the space between the 1st fret and the string. I'm shooting for around 20 thousandths to start with, but I will fine-tune that downward to about 18 and 16. But I'll take that measurement, remove the string from that slot, fine-tune the slot, put the string back, basically rinse and repeat. When I get to 20 thousandths, I'll check that for comfort and I'll go downward from there. And then once all of that is done, I'll put all the strings to the side and do the final shaping on the nut with some files and some sandpaper, and I'll show you the results when I'm done. Alright, so I did show a little bit of the filing there and some fast forward mode, but I'll still show you a still picture of the completed nut with the edges of the nut rounded and everything at the correct height. Once you get the nut adjusted properly, the last thing you do is set the action. Again, I shoot for 4/64 at the 17th fret. You can go up or down from there, but I will include the wrenches with this guitar so you can adjust this bridge the way you want it. There's a larger wrench that goes into the 2 posts and a smaller wrench that goes into the adjustment screws on the saddles. Again, I've already made that adjustment, so I won't do it here on camera, and I've also reinstalled the back plate because the tremolo is level, and I also set the pickup height. Now these pickups are actually pretty hot in the testing that I've done. So I've actually set these to more of the Texas Blues spec for Fender, which is 8/64 on the bass side, and I actually went to 7/64 on the treble side. You probably watched the video on Stratocaster pickup setup that I've got out there as a quick tip, but basically what I do is I fret the 2 E strings at the last fret, and then I grab a pair of Allen wrenches that are the correct diameter, or I should say more correctly, the correct height, and I'll put one on the low E and one on the high E, and then I'll adjust the screws up and down until the string just barely touches that Allen wrench. By the way, I say Allen wrench as a brand name, but it just means a hex wrench. And the last thing to do on the entire guitar was to install the string trees, which I have actually already done. Now when I do that, I detune the 2 strings that the string tree is going to go across, then I hang the string tree from those 2 strings, and I'll show you a still picture of that. Then I mark where it goes, drill the location, and then finally mount it. Now these particular string trees require 2 holes because there's actually a locating post, so you have to be a little bit careful when you're drilling those because they're pretty close together, but it's still not that hard. Now the last piece of hardware we could possibly install on this entire guitar is actually the tremolo arm, and it's just a push-in arm. It's installed in such a way that this doesn't flop around and it'll sit where you want it to sit. I didn't have a black tip, unfortunately, so you're going to get a white one, but it still looks pretty cool. And it kind of matches the white stripe on the pick guard and the white nut. Well, I told you that I wanted to complete the guitar before I committed to the giveaway, and I'm happy to say this guitar is ready to give away. So I am totally committed to the giveaway, and I'll be releasing a video on that in exactly 1 week. So just to be clear, this is not the giveaway video. The giveaway video comes next, and it will define all the rules, and it will be the one where you take action. Now, since I already know some of the rules, I'll go ahead and tell you that this is my first giveaway, so I've got to limit it to the US only. I'm a really small builder, I don't have a lot of money for shipping, and I'm a little bit uncertain about some of the international giveaway laws, so you will have to be a resident of the United States. That's not to say in the near future that I won't do a Canadian giveaway, and I probably will, but this one won't be it. Beyond that, I promise entry will be really simple, and everybody will have the same chance of winning. Let me leave you with a little bit of a teaser video as to what this thing sounds like, and I'll do that as I play my way out. But I thank you very much for hanging with me through this build. I appreciate all the likes and all the comments, definitely all the support. I love it when you guys subscribe, and I really love it when you visit my Amazon links, so take a look at those, especially if you want to see the parts on this guitar. I'll do a full rundown of those parts in the next video, but anyway, I'll see you guys next time.